So to make our page dynamic, to allow us to send HTML files whenever someone comes to our page, we need one more package. So I'm going to stop my server, and I'm going to npm install -- save EJS. If you've ever written Ruby, EJS is like ERB. They're the same exact thing. But one is for embedded Ruby and one is for embedded JavaScript. Hit enter. It should install the package. If you look at your no modules, you should have one that says EJS now. If you have that, you are Fuego. That I have no idea. Spacebars is not in my expertise. So now that we have EJS, we can set up our app to use EJS. So right below where we created the app, we said app equals the result of running the express function. Create an instance of the express function. And then below that, we're going to say app.set the view engine to be EJS, so that it knows that we want our HTML files to be EJS instead. And then below that, we need to create 2 new configurations to serve static content. That means like any kinds of files that like aren't dynamic, something like images, CSS, stuff like that. We have to go like this. We say app.use express.static views. Now what this does is it says everything that our user is going to see, all of our static files are going to be in a folder called views. Cool? So let me write that out. Everything the user will see goes in the views folder, or can be found in the views folder. And so then below that, we have our logger. Yes. Then one more thing. Below the logger, we're going to app.set the views, and then we're going to use this weird variable that comes with Express and Node. It's underscore dir name. It stands for directory name. It's a variable that says whatever directory we need to find plus /views. So set the views folder we were talking about before to whatever the main root directory is, and then find views. And that's most of the setup we need to do. I know it's super confusing. You're like, I have no idea what these do. Honestly, don't worry about it. It's the least important part. It's the least important part. Understanding what this does is less important than knowing how to use it, is what I would say. I have never fully sat down and looked through all the express functions to make sure that my static stuff is served from views and why, but I know how it works, I know what to do, and therefore I can write cool apps using it. So inside my first server directory, I'm going to create a new folder called views. And inside there, I'm going to create a new file called home.ejs. It's the same thing as HTML, but instead we use .ejs instead of .html. You could call this index.ejs too if you want, but I always call it something different so I don't confuse myself. Cool? Again, don't worry too much if this is too confusing right now. It's going to make a lot more sense in a second. Okay? Now, go ahead and save that file, the server.js file, and open up your home.ejs file. And in there, make it a normal HTML file. Doc type HTML, HTML tag, head tag with a title tag that says, my first server. And then below that head tag, let's put a body tag, and then let's say H1 homepage. save. This is where you would include your like materialize, your bootstrap, and you would lay out all the front end beautiful stuff you want people to see. So then how do you send this file to them whenever they make a GET request? Does anyone want to take a guess what you do? Response.send, exactly. Whenever someone gets our home page, we're going to response.send them home.ejs. That's exactly right. So back in my server.js file, down here, response.send, you no longer response.send, now you response.render home.ejs. And you're done. Because you're rendering an EJS file. And I'll show you why that's important in a minute. Render means to take all of the HTML and to display it in your browser. Every browser is an HTML renderer. When it gets sent HTML, it knows how to turn it into beautiful displays. And this is what we do here. And now if you do this and you restart your server, and I'll answer your question in just a second. If you restart your server, node server.js, and refresh this, you should see the home page from our EJS file. And now we have a full application ready to go, and we can do GET requests, POST requests, everything else is all just about ready to go. Now the other cool thing is you can also do different routes and send different files. If someone app.gets other route, you can run a function that sends a request and a response, and it response.render other.ejs. You could send other files depending on what link they go to, what page they go to. This is how you get an app that's more dynamic and complex. Now, we don't need this for now, but I just wanted to show you what that is. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to stop this video here, and I'm going to answer all your questions and paste this code in Slack. Cool?